So, a couple people have made a few videos about the atheist community recently. I'm thinking Bionic Dance and Complete Rationality. And the latter video, especially, has inspired me to speak my own feelings about what is known on YouTube and in secular circles as the atheist community. So, first things first, it's apparently obvious to anyone who isn't living under a rock that just about every religion on the face of this earth has a community of some sort. Whether it be the Muslim community within society, within a country, or maybe a Christian club within a school, any sort of thing like that, it is apparent that the religious have a tendency to band together because of like-minded beliefs and ideals. But what about atheists? We don't really have a firm set of beliefs, after all. To be an atheist is simply just to lack the belief in a god or gods. So, is there any need at all to be part of an atheist community? Well, there is an atheist community in many places, in some schools, in society in general. And especially at my university, there is an atheist community of its own right. But why is that necessary? Well, one could argue from simplicity and say that you can form a group or a community based on dislikes or disbelief. So, for example, you can form a community based on people who hate seeing the color red. I don't know. And in the same token, I don't think that there's anything wrong with forming a community that hates seeing the color red. In the same way that there's nothing wrong with forming a community that does not believe in a god or gods. As long as we do share something in common, I think that's good enough reason to join and get together and maybe see if other people have similar interests or beliefs. But I don't think that's the main reason why an atheist community really does exist, especially here on YouTube. Could it be that it's all because we share the same beliefs? Well, no, not necessarily. The only thing that all atheists really have in common is just the lack of belief in a god or gods. And whatever else we believe in, our attitudes towards the religious, any other supernatural belief that we might hold is entirely up to the discretion of each individual person who happens to be in the atheist community. And in many instances, and I'm thinking especially on YouTube, atheists don't always get along. One thing I can dismiss pretty much right off the bat would be that an atheist community is only formed out of hatred for religion. Many atheists, myself included, don't have anything personal against religion. I do stand against religion, and I think I have explained my reasons for doing so. But atheist communities are not the same as anti-theists, and I hope that theists really do understand the difference between the two. Some atheists are anti-theists, and to be honest, I do understand where they're coming from. But an atheist community is not necessarily formed out of just spite for religion. I think I have to agree with Bionic Dance here and say that the main reason why there is an atheist community on YouTube and why there are atheist communities around the world and why they hold atheist conventions and whatnot is because, especially out of self-defense, theists and religion have and continue to dominate many areas and aspects of life that it really shouldn't. From how we dress, to how we eat, who we can marry, what sex we can have with whom and what position, and all sorts of places where it just doesn't belong. And if we let theists have their way, if we let them stamp over us, and if we kept our mouths shut, then it would be a really bad place, not only for us, but for other theists as well who happen to not be part of the majority. In many areas of the world, especially I'm thinking America, atheists have and continue to be persecuted. And that's one reason, I think the main reason, we are a community, and the reason we do stand together, and why we are so vocal about it. because we don't want to be bullied around by people who think they have the right to control our freedom of expression and our freedom to believe what we want. Like any community, the atheist community has its bad eggs. And we all expect this. We all know this to be true. But there's nothing we can really do about it. But generally speaking, I think it's a pretty friendly community, especially on YouTube. And the atheist community at my school is also pretty friendly. So, really, I don't see any reason why anyone should have a huge problem with atheists forming a community, especially considering how we are a very, very abused and mistrusted minority. So, is there necessarily something that the atheist community has upon its core? Like, you know how Christians have their God and their religion at its core, and maybe some Muslim groups have the Quran as its core. Well, we don't have a central dogma, not really. We do have some pretty influential speakers like Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, etc. But these people are not to be confused with our dogma or our gods, because many of us disagree with them. We don't always agree with people who just happen to be influential and outspoken atheists. They too are part of the atheist community, but they don't speak on behalf of all of us. In the same way that I'm sure that the Pope and the opinions of the clergy don't speak on behalf of all Christians. So there you have it, guys. Pretty much my thoughts on the atheist community. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. May the truth always be heard.